table, and it just was weird. There was like me and Ron, and there was like Troy and Kevin from 7 Seconds, Ian and someone from Minor Threat, and a couple just people all at this
just
table.
Legends, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean,
Future legends.
I wish there was a photo of that. Well,
right.
I don't know if there is or not, but just stuff like that. You know, I really admire that band. They're awesome. I think Ian's just super talented all the way around.
100%.
What he is.
Welcome to Get Heavy Podcast. With your host, Craig Casamas and Big J Curran.
Okay. Welcome to Get Heavy Podcast, guys. We got another fucking beautiful episode. We're coming at you hard with Nardcore Month. We have a very special guest tonight. One of the men that started it all, essentially, right? We got Blake Cruz, founding member of Stalag 13, right? Founding member?
Well, yeah.
Semi? You can get into details later.
Really close, yeah.
Yeah, but we're very excited to have you on, man. It's been, we've been trying to get you on for, I don't know, 2 years now at this point, you know?
It's like pulling fucking teeth.
It's all good, but it's really awesome to see you here, man.
Yeah, well,
I appreciate it.
Me.
We got this new fancy little studio set up, right? Yeah. We're like almost looking like professionals here, dude. You know?
Yeah.
But yeah, we're stoked to have you on, man. I'm very excited to be playing Nardfest with you, dude.
Yeah,
seriously.
it's gonna be good.
I think we're like, for me, the Wrath, like I haven't thought about that band in 10 years since we broke up, you know?
You know, I was like, fuck yeah, when I hit up John C. and he said, how hard would it be? You know, we got to do this. And, you know, well, it's been a minute. We got to call it. But it made it happen.
No, it's awesome, man.
Yeah.
If we're going to crawl out of the woodwork for anything, it'd be fucking Nardfest, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Especially Nardfest put on by you.
Yeah, well,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which is awesome.
But I'm stoked it's at the Pack, too.
Yeah.
That's so cool, dude.
Good, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, how many shows have you seen back in the 80s and 90s at the Pack, man?
Yeah.
You know?
And here we go.
Yeah.
You know, so first year there, so I'm excited for that.
Yeah, it's going to be amazing. Because it was at the Ventura Theater before. It was at
Ocean Pavilion.
Ocean Pavilion, which is a cool spot, but the way you're trying to do it with 2 stages and all the things, you know, it'd be pretty hard to pull off. You know? It'd almost be a 2-day festival over there, right?
We did that last year.
Yeah.
And I think it's better one day.
I think so,
yeah.
I'm excited, man. So I want to get into what, you know, speaking of like OPAC and shit, right? Like you grew up in Oxnard, the Strand, right? Essentially is where you and your plethora of family members are from.
Yeah.
Right? Notorious fucking maniacs.
Can't get off the island.
That's
man.
right, dude.
Been there forever.
What was going on like in the 80s? How did you guys get involved? Because I've never gotten I've heard a lot of guys that are on maybe even the second generation of Nardcore, but I don't get to talk to the literal OGs of what was happening. Like, I get to talk to the Joe Reeveses and the fucking, all these rad people, but what the fuck was going on? Like, how did you guys get involved with this shit?
So it's pretty funny. There's Strand, you know, pretty small beach, one way on, one way out, but there was one street, Cahuenga, and it was pretty classic because you had Mark Hickey's house right here with the half pipe in the back.
Right.
Big Bob was right next door.
Right.
And then we were two doors down with
really?
my family.
Yeah.
And so it was kind of all there for me, and my sister was dating Henry.
Okay.
You know, and so he kind of was living with us, and, you know, he had the guitars, and I was like, you know, we're always watching jam, and I was like, just the total aggression.
How old are you at this point?
14.
14 at this point. And aggression is what, 16, 17 maybe at this, like, how old are those guys?
Oh, they're fucking old.
Oh, are they older?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So,
Bob's was like quite a bit older.
Yeah.
Was he?
You know what I mean?
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't know him very well.
Yeah.
I've only met him a few times.
Yeah.
It was always a pleasure.
They were a lot older, actually.
Oh, really? Okay.
I mean, Larry White's, what, 70? You know what I mean?
76, actually.
I think he's pretty close
he
to
might be the same
70.
age
He
as
might,
Biden,
yeah, he's right there. And if you listen to Larry talk, he sounds a lot like Biden sometimes. You know what I mean? He mumbles a lot.
So it was pretty cool, you know, being that young and watching Aggression, and you know, they would practice in the house, and everyone would be skating the half pipe in the back, and you know, those were the Godzilla days. And my brother had
For the people that know, what are the Godzilla days?
Godzilla's was a club down in Sun Valley. And they were all the bouncers, Big Bob, Henry, Mark, and so we would load up the band just constantly and just go down to Godzilla's and Ricky Dogs and all that stuff. So that was kind of my first taste of that. But you know, I always just loved watching Aggression, you know, and started getting into it and started learning how to play. But my mom plays.
Oh, really?
Guitar, yeah, and sings, and she's played the Palomino and a bunch of people when we were young.
Wow. And like, what kind of facility? Like, what did she play?
She just did like her own style.
Really?
Okay. Yeah, it was called Mommy Swami. At that
really?
time.
Okay.
Yeah, but back in the day when I was really young, my mom ran with Frank Zappa and them. So we would hang out down with the Zappa crew and all that.
That's trippy because my grandpa grew up with Zappa in Lancaster.
Yeah, so
my grandpa was neighbors with Zappa before he got famous. And when he got big, he bailed and went to fucking wherever he went. Yeah.
So my mom was kind of the hippie type, you know, we rolled like that, you know. Zappa wrote his book. My mom's kind of mentioned in it and stuff. So I've always been around music.
Wow.
You know? Everyone kind of played music except for my sister.
Really?
You know, the other brother plays guitar and stuff. So
So how many is in the Cruz fan? I don't know all of them.
I have 2 brothers and a sister.
2 brothers and a sister. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
So we were just all right there on the Strand, that little radius of houses.
Single mom? You have a dad?
Yeah, I have a dad.
Okay.
Well, I had a dad. He passed away right before, you know, I got sober, actually.
Really?
So,
okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
But, you know, they were split at a young age. And
they were
I had had a strict kind of dad, and I had the hippie kind of mom.
Really?
You know, I remember this is when I joined Stalag, and it was our first tour, and I was in E.O. Green Junior High. And I told her, hey, Mom, I have opportunity to go on tour.
You were in junior high?
Yeah.
No way, dude.
Yeah, so,
oh my God.
you know, I had to get, you know, I have to go on this tour. So she said, well, let's get you independent studies. And I said, fuck yeah. So
no way.
It was classic because all those guys in the band would do the homework and I'd turn it in. That's why I don't know shit now. So it was pretty cool at that age, you know, to be able to travel on tour, you know, back then.
Wow. Because I have kids that literally just hit high school. And even as a musician, if my kids were like, hey, I have an opportunity to go on tour, I'd be like, absolutely not.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like, we shit on boomer parents all the time because there's many things that are worthy to get shit on. But that type of shit is exactly what built the generation after them. You know what I mean? Like the generation of like, go for it.
Yeah, go, you know.
Wow.
Do what you want to, you got to, you know.
Yeah.
If she would have said no, I don't know, you know, what would
we didn't grow up soft, though. We didn't grow up soft at all. Yeah.
You know. But,
yeah, and I don't think it's in a good way.
Though, to be that young and start doing
That's wild, man. Yeah. So middle school, you went on your first tour.
Yeah.
That's incredible, dude.
Yeah.
And where did you guys go?
You know, just basically up north. We went San Francisco, Oregon, Seattle.
Little West Coast.
Yeah, little West Coast thing. And that one, Harry was in the band.
Okay.
And we just recorded the In Control record.
Yes.
And she had like.
So did you record the In Control record as well?
Yeah.
You were on. Yeah. So okay, that's why I thought founding member because you were on the In Control record.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
But we did that, and I remember Harry's mom had like this brand new van, you know, with the weird seats in it. It was kind of old school thing. And that trip was just crazy. And we got back, the band was thrashed. And he bailed the band. And,
wow.
You know, yeah.
That's amazing, dude.
Yeah.
I just can't, like, as a guy that has kids at that age, like, even when I told my mom at like 18, 17, I was going on tour, she's like, all right. Okay, like, you know what I mean? I'm an adult kind of, you know, but she was even tripping, and she was pretty wild too. Like, she would let us, you know, practice in the and shout out to fucking moms, dude.
Totally.
You know what I mean? Because there's a whole generation of kids that if you had a cool fucking mom that supported you, like, it spawned a generation of fucking incredible music.
Absolutely.
You know, the mom that would let you guys jam in the house, and build a fucking half pipe in the backyard. You know what I mean?
Parents, like, whichever parent, it doesn't matter.
And
if
it could
it's
be a
mom
dad
or
too,
whatever.
You know what I mean?
It's whichever. Just having parents that were like, "Hey, man,
Go for it.
Yeah, you just do it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But do it. Don't, get into it.
Yeah.
If you're going to do it, do it.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
But it's parents.
So Stalag was like pretty new when you joined, essentially, right?
Yeah. So they had, I think it was Carl Winridge and the founding members with
Okay.
Ron. And those guys had and it was pretty funny because we were at a party at Jimmy Callahan's.
Okay.
And
there's going to be a lot of Nardcore legend names that you guys may not know,
Right.
but essentially, you have to bear with us on this shit. Essentially.
we were at a party, and those guys were all blazing on acid. And Ron was trying to do band talk, and I guess he just had enough with them. And he goes, "You guys are fired." And they're still a part of this.
Of course.
Of this part where Ron came and hit me up to play guitar or bass. We weren't sure which one it was.
Oh, really?
I'm saying guitar, he's saying bass.
Okay.
And but either or, that's how I got in the band. And
Wow.
We got it was Ricky Bowersock was playing bass, and a guy named Joe Liebke was on the drums. It was just us four, and we were in Ron's garage, and we started writing the In Control record.
Damn.
Yeah.
That's crazy,
Yeah.
man.
So
And this is what year?
83.
83. So like the hardcore scene had just started flourishing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it's like we talk about all this shit that's going on in LA, the LA punk scene, the New York punk scene. For some reason, Oxnard was on the fucking level. Like at the same time.
Yeah.
Like it's trippy, dude.
Yeah.
You know? Like as soon as Minor Threat released shit, Nardcore bands were releasing shit. You know what I mean? It's like it's fucking crazy to me, you know?
Yeah, it was pretty crazy.
Was it just a reaction of the time, or like what were the bands that like inspired you like in the beginning? I mean, obviously Aggression, right? The band's close to you, but like was there a greater lore of like what the fuck is going on?
Yeah, Ron, was straight edge that time, so we were really heavy leaning that way. Like, we loved the 7 Seconds, the Minor Threat, the Necros,
right?
And back then.
But these bands had just released albums like a year before that, 2 years maybe before that, right?
We were just like, and then back then, like there was no internet shit like that.
No.
So Ron was full pen pals. We would write letters to Ian and Kevin and all these bands.
That's crazy.
Getting T-shirts in the mail, homemade silk screen with the spray paint. I mean, the
Dude.
stencil.
Yeah, stencil work.
But that's how all that was. Ron would write to everybody, and we just kind of got mixed. But we pushed it. We made our own stickers and just back then flyer the hell out everywhere. And, and we started, putting on a pretty good show. But those guys, Ricky and Joe, we played a few shows with them, but then, we got Larry White, we had Dave Casillas, and then we got John Morris.
Right.
And
then
that's when it kind of turned the page.
Right.
Like, people were like, hey, these guys are good.
Yeah.
They're upcoming.
Well, Dave alone is, I mean, Larry's an incredible drummer.
all
But
those
Dave
guys
is a maniac.
So it was, and at that time, we went a little different route than the Nardcore bands because they kind of went with Mystic Records.
Right.
And we didn't. We went off with our own, and we met a guy, George Newberry, and did it with the Upstart Records.
Okay, so you guys never got wrapped up in the Mystic Records shit. Fucking smart,
They threw us
huh?
on a couple compilations.
Sure, but man, what a bullet.
No,
what an incredible bullet you guys dodged, huh?
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
that fucking Doug Moody, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, no one has a nice thing to say about
Right,
that guy,
yeah.
20, 30 years later.
Yeah, it's kind of, and, Stalag had a little own style. It was a little bit different, a little bit melodic, a little bit this. So, that record came out, and that kind of was,
yeah,
where it was. And then
it was different.
Yeah, and then Gary Tovar over at Golden Voice, he gave us a good opportunity. He put us on some pretty good shows,
Okay.
Some bigger shows, and we started getting noticed, and we got some good write-ups on Flipside magazine and all that, and things just kind of started taking off.
Yeah. So was it consistently when was the hard run for Stalag? You were 15, 13, 14, I guess.
No, it was about 14,
15,
yeah. In there.
And then how long did it last? Like you guys just
a
did
couple
shit?
years.
A few years.
Yeah.
Okay. A couple years. Yeah.
And then I kind of bailed out, and it kind of went another direction, kind of a metal direction with Chuck Steak.
The whole scene was changing at that point.
Then.
Right.
Yeah.
everything went metal. You know.
Yeah.
So the doctor knows. Everyone fucking switched.
Yeah.
To metal became the thing. You know.
But it was fun. You know, right there, and put the name kind of out there, and you know, thank God, you know.
Yeah.
Still, and now we are today, still going.
Yeah, it's such a wild thing to see bands, you know, because I grew up around you guys. I'm like, I don't know, I'm fucking 42, so, you know, I was a kid that knew about the Nardcore shit. Never thought I would ever be involved in it because I play really weird music. You know, I play gnarly shit, like. And when I got started the Wrath with John, like that was my in for Nardcore because John was. You know, I call him the Prince of Nardcore, essentially, right?
He's so good.
And and I never in a million years thought I'd be involved with any of that shit, you know. And I'm just like, now that more, you know, the years have passed, and now we're, you know, we're all equals-ish, you know what I mean? It's such a trip to see the historic rise of these bands and coming back 25, 30 years later, and being almost even stronger, you know what I mean? Which is incredible, you know? Yeah.
Good shit.
I'm just shocked, you know what I mean, like how awesome it is for everyone, because a lot of people glorify the 80s and what it was to be in a hardcore band back then, right? You hear about these stories about playing with Bad Brains and all these incredible shows, but you like, unless you've been in a band, you don't know what a fucking nightmare it really actually is on paper, you know what I mean? And those years go by so fast, you know what I mean, and you can't like do anything. So as far as you being in a band and doing the thing, like, what were some of the major highlights? Like, do you have memories of like these highlights of like things that you got to do that you know, as far as shows or tours or all that stuff?
I mean, there's just so many memories, so much, you know, just classic. I remember this one time that I will never forget. We were coming from up north somewhere, and we were playing with the Vandals, and their van broke. And Steve-O has this crazy makeup on. And now our van, we kind of built like this table, you know, equipment went under it and stayed on the top. So we had to pull the Vandals. Pull the Vandals into our van so we could get to the next show. Now you got to remember, I'm 14 now. But I always drove. I was the driver.
No way. Are you serious?
To drive. So we're driving and we get pulled over. And I'm like, oh, we're fucked. You know, I don't have a license, nothing. So the cop comes up to the car and he goes, hey, I need to open the side van, the door. So he opens the door, and can you imagine the Vandals and Stalag 13 crammed in this van? Steve-O's got makeup everywhere.
Because he was a legit clown, like, essentially, right?
And he just goes, I don't even want to ask what's going on here. And he said, and pointed to me, he's all, just slow down. And I said,
you guys towing a trailer?
No problem.
You're in the van. No, nothing. Oh my God.
In the car. And we were laughing so hard, and I drove away. And I just remember, Larry loves that story too.
Didn't even ask it for an ID?
No, he just said,
14 years old.
I don't know, but you got to remember back, so, okay, we'll say 83.
Sure.
Punk rock. People didn't really know what the fuck's going on, especially in some weird bumfuck town we're driving through.
Right.
And all the mohawk skin, everything. Just seen it all and just said, I don't even want to do
Don't blame them even a little bit. I could see doing the exact same thing.
So, I mean,
you guys are good, carry on.
After stories, you know.
That's amazing, man.
You know, cruising with Minor Threat and stuff like that.
So you guys got to play shows with them, or?
You know, we just went up and just kind of cruised along with them. You know, they were going up to the Bay Area at a place called the Tool and Dive.
Okay.
It's a little bar. It's this little dungeon, like, basement type thing.
Sure.
With 7 Seconds, and it was just incredible. I remember we went out to dinner one time during that trip, and this table was just like this big long table, and it just was weird. There was like me and Ron, and there was like Troy and Kevin from 7 Seconds, Ian and someone from Minor Threat, and a couple just people all at this
just
table.
Legends, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean,
future legends.
I wish there was a photo of that. Well, I don't know if there is or not, but just stuff like that. You know, I really admire that band. They're awesome. I think Ian's just super talented all the way around.
100%.
What he is, you know, doing no matter you know what band he's in.
It doesn't matter what it is. You know, all the way up through the evens and whatever he's doing. It's incredible.
Yeah. So just you know.
So I mean, just to have that experience back then is like so unique because you know, it's hard to DIY touring wasn't a thing. It doesn't feel like before punk rock.
So to say that the punk rock was the one that started the do-it-yourself fucking, like, you think Leonard Skinner had somebody that set everything up for him?
Yeah, they did.
You guys were, no, they did not.
They had a guy.
They absolutely, no, they didn't.
Yes.
None of them did. You guys are not all of a sudden do it yourself. You especially, you following in his footsteps. So you sure the fuck didn't
All right,
do it.
calm down, all right?
Jesus Christ, these fucking kids
Dude,
are
but I'm
so
telling
assuming. You know, they're like, oh, we started something. No, you didn't.
It's not that
Elvis
we
Presley
started.
did it in the beginning. Like,
I don't know.
go back
Maybe you
to
can
that.
explain it a little bit better, but I really do feel like the early '80s, late '70s, the punk rock movement. There was bands that, you know, rock bands, right? Every rock band had a fucking manager, a tour manager, whether it was some dickhead or not. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, did you guys ever have a fucking tour manager?
No.
Exactly. So that's what I'm saying. Like, and you're not
Okay,
wrong.
You're right, dude.
You're
You
not
created
wrong.
the world.
Yes, we did create the world. I'm
Hardcore,
a
yeah.
Gen Xer, dude. We created the world, you know. But it's just it's so weird because you had a whole infrastructure built around getting out on the road, like until punk rock. No one wanted punk rock bands to show up in their fucking town. It feels
Right,
like
yeah.
maybe I'm wrong, you know. Besides the punk rockers,
Right.
But like I'm sure you guys weren't welcomed by the police, by
Yeah,
normal hicks,
yeah,
by normal
exactly.
people, right?
Yeah,
like,
people would
and
lose
so
their
for me,
mind.
it feels like it was the first like gauntlet of like you guys were the guinea pigs of how to fucking get around the country.
Yeah.
By word of mouth, essentially, right?
Right, yeah.
Essentially, I mean, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe
You know, that was it. You know,
there was like guys in areas that would do things,
Yeah.
but you had to figure out how to get a hold of somebody. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like,
yeah.
it just felt like it was a little, you know, and you know, you may not be right.
Yeah,
wrong,
I'm guessing
you know what I mean?
Otis Redding is going, no, he's 100%
Well,
right.
yeah.
You know?
The color
Yeah.
of his skin, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm sure, you know, I'm
But
sure
he had
James
a guy.
Brown
He
is
had a
like,
guy
yeah,
that was representing him
we're
that would
good.
help him. You know what I mean?
James
Like,
Brown's all, yeah, no, it was easy for me. I
yeah,
had
but
no
to
problem
be in a
getting around
band
the
and be the
country.
guy that has to do the thing at the same
Right.
time is be the promoter, the booker, the fucking tour manager,
Oh, yeah.
the guy. You know, it felt
Yeah.
maybe I'm thinking about it too
No,
microscopically.
no. That's then and then even to today.
To today, right?
Yeah.
Because you're the guy now, right? You're still the guy.
I'm
35
talking
years
shit,
later.
but
Right.
it really isn't. It is to be in a band, whatever it is, to get out there and do this stuff. You know, people that get managers, you have to get to a certain point.
Right.
And most bands don't get to that point.
Right.
And if they want to tour and they want to have a good time, they want to go do this stuff and be out there. Most of it's do it yourself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't care if you're doing
Yes.
hip hop, punk,
Yeah.
metal, jazz, whatever it is.
Right.
You know, nobody shows up with a jazz funk
Just
band and
seems
just
there's
have
a lot
somebody
of more
line them in there.
resources now because of
Sure.
The internet.
The internet.
because them, you know, I remember trying to drive looking at the fucking Thomas guy.
Oh,
Where
dude.
the
Oh,
fuck
dude.
are we going?
Fuck a
Dude,
Thomas guy.
You
dog.
know,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
you know, just from that, it was just the
Yeah.
fucking mission.
Well, then also
I
just
fucking
we-
love the Thomas guy.
I do too.
Yeah,
It was the most
fun.
accurate fucking thing.
Right,
You know,
yeah.
remember when you could read a
the
map? You know,
motherfucker,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
Which, if you guys don't know, there used to be actual just maps that you would look
Yeah.
at. You'd
Yeah.
plug an address into
And
Waze.
you guys Google what a map is.
Yeah. yeah. But it's just
Absolutely.
trippy, man. To do a whole. I always think back, like, because I got the MapQuest days.
Right.
Like, I had a little bit of the calling card days, but the MapQuest days were like our deal, you know. And then I think back to like you guys, where it's like you just like write a letter. And hope to God, maybe have a phone call, and hope to God that motherfucker shows up to a show
Right.
to put it on, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But how often did it like work? Most of the time, right?
Well, kind of. So now, when we started kind of getting some notoriety about Stalag, you know, playing some
Sure.
good shows, getting in these magazines, you know, the magazines were a huge thing.
it was a
too.
big deal. Yeah.
There were already a lot of good shit happening.
Right.
You know, and so we just kind of, with the help of Aggression, you know,
Right.
because they were all tied in with the Sean and Mark Stern, BYO,
Mm-hmm.
that were doing big shows, and you had John Macias and the Circle One family doing
Right.
Punk United stuff over here. So there was already good shows coming on. It was just now us getting in the door.
You getting in the door,
And then
right.
we did, and then,
Yeah.
you know, kind of helped us out. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, man. It's just the touring in the 80s is. I hear
Yeah.
stories and I'm like, you know, what the fuck, man?
Yeah.
Like, it's just so crazy because
Yeah.
it felt crazy when I was doing it in the 90s.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
And like you
know.
said, you know, driving all this crazy way and 10 people show up.
Don't,
and
yeah.
You're like, yeah, fuck.
It's
Can we
pretty
get some
humbling.
gas money? Oh, we can't even give you gas money.
Totally,
You know?
yeah. I've had guys try to pay me with like a pack of monsters.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
dude.
You just pay your dues and, you know, you
eat
go
shit.
for it. Yeah.
And it's incredible that 30 years later you guys are getting to do some amazing shit. Because did you guys ever get to go to Europe back in the day? None of that shit, right?
No, none of that. And then it was kind of funny because Ron, original singer, when we were in his garage writing all this stuff for the In Control, we were saying one day we're going to get to Europe. That was the bucket list.
Oh, 100%.
That was the whole goal. That's all we wanted to do, you know. And then, you know, band kind of broke up for a while, a long time, you know. And then John C. came and put us back together.
Helped resurrect it,
And, you know, I was able to book the Europe tour.
Yeah.
And I was like, fuck, I was there.
30-year bucket
and going,
list.
fuck, this is rad. I did it. And Ron was not in the picture, so I was like, darn, you know, like we were the goal, but maybe we'll get into that.
Yeah, he's back later. Yeah. So the stint, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, it's kind of, and it's really cool because, you know, I don't know you from any Stalag. I don't know you from that stuff. I know you from Ska Daddies. And, you know, back in the early 90s. And it was a whole insane run that was so much fucking fun, man. You know, I loved every night that you guys were coming to play because it was just going to be total just chaos.
Yeah,
it was just it was just going to be a good time.
Yeah,
music was going to be going off. People were going to be going off. We didn't know what kind of shit show we were getting into. It was just always a blast, man. But then, you know, Tony had some stuff happen, and then all of a sudden Tony started like in dealing with stuff. I think, and I could be wrong. I'd love to have Tony on here to talk about it, but like all of a sudden the resurgence came.
Right.
You know, because everything was kind of dead.
Right.
And I kind of remember watching like Tony being like, get No Repute together, and then slowly watching everybody come out of retirement. You know, and
then newer bands like you know, the '90s. You know, all that good stuff was coming.
And you know, got yourself in a place to where you could actually come back and do all this stuff, which is a huge story in itself, man. You know, and I don't know if you want to get into that, but I watched it, man, and it's one of the most inspiring things I've seen in my life
you know,
ever.
Playing, you know, the Stalag days, I was so young, you know, I'm sure was partying, nothing crazy, kind of turned the page to what you were talking about, the Ska Daddies.
Ska Daddies was such a
and the drinking
so
was
much
just,
fun.
You know, we were sponsored by the beer company. I could just roll the warehouse and just get cases. I had a kegerator in the garage. I sold beer after 2 to all the hoodlums on the strand.
Wow, yeah.
Fill up the mayonnaise jars and sell them. You know, and all that shit was fun, man. I mean, I loved it. You know, I had a good time, and then it just got ugly.
Yeah.
And it got bad.
Yeah.
And it got really bad.
Yeah.
You know, where I went to hell and back, you know. It was brutal.
Yeah.
You know.
I watched
and so that was years after, so that's after the Ska Daddies or during the Ska Daddies run?
It was towards the end of the Ska Daddies.
Yeah.
Okay.
Towards the end of
So you'd already picked up a habit
Yeah.
by the end of Stalag. Did Stalag end in any sort of like crash and burn fashion, or did it fizzle out like
just fizzled out?
That's how most punk bands
I
fizzle
kind of
out,
was done, and I just was kind of getting older and just kind of fizzling out. And then my brother had this reggae band, the Ska Daddies, and they hit me up to play, and I'm like, sure, why not? So I kind of did what I did with Stalag, with the Ska Daddies, you know, being at Kinko's and making the flyers, and we started getting write-ups in the paper, you know, and, you know, we got on some good shows with like No Doubt, the Untouchables, and Specials, and we were just, you know,
everywhere.
But it was chaos.
Yeah, there was like a whole ska resurgence
it was a
in the
complete
90s.
I think it was kind of a resurgence of ska, kind of at the same time that punk died.
Right.
To a certain extent.
Bit,
there was a bunch of bands that were still kind of carrying it on, but all of the people weren't like Ill Repute wasn't playing no more. You guys weren't playing no more. Like all of these people kind of went away.
Right.
You know, and I think part of it had to do with a lot of people like got to the age where they're like, I'm having kids.
Right.
I gotta, you know, like I now have to go get a job and do all these different things. And I think that you went from like, okay, yeah, okay, Stalag's done now, and now let's go do this.
Right.
And then this was, I mean, for all of you that know what Stalag is and have known what that life was, and you guys know what that punk scene was, I could be wrong, but I don't think I am. Everything that Ska Daddies did was a whole next extra level.
Right.
Like the scene
Well,
that
it's
was
marketable music.
Well, not only that, bro.
Yeah. And
the
it's good,
fucking
you know,
party
you guys were
scene
good.
that came along with fucking it was insane,
Yeah.
bro.
Yeah.
No.
I mean, I can't even.
was.
I bounced and did security for you guys. I can't even tell you how many shows I worked. You guys, Raging Arb,
Lion Eyes.
Well, I was just after Lion Eyes, so it was when Guy was doing the Trouser Trouts, and then he went on to do the next one, and I can't remember what it was. But you guys came along in a time where it was a raging party. It went from being like punk gigs and doing what you guys were doing to where like all of these bands in the late 80s or going into the early 90s when I got into it, it was a raging party.
Right.
And it was a party that when it showed up, everybody in town went and partied like we were hanging out in the garage.
Right.
And it was the bands, we were having so much fun, man, and it was just complete chaos.
Yeah.
But it was a whole different type of chaos.
Yeah,
You
and
know?
it turned into chaos for me.
Yeah, oh yeah.
You
Yeah.
know? But, you know, just being in that whole scene and just even kind of prior to that, just seemed like it was just gradually getting worse and worse for me.
Yeah.
And then it just got to the
For a lot of people.
Yeah.
I mean,
A lot of people didn't make it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm lucky.
I know.
You know, I'm lucky that I did, you know, but, you know, it wasn't part of the plan. This wasn't part of the plan.
Yeah,
you
no
know,
one planned
where I
this,
was just going to just ruin everything.
Right.
You know, my kids, for one, you know, I put them through hell. You know, wasn't a bad dad, didn't hit, didn't do none of that.
Sure.
I would embarrass them.
Right.
You know.
Oh, that's so rough to deal with, man.
You know, and you know what happened though, to tell you the truth, was I got nerve damage.
Right.
And they thought I had cerebral palsy.
From drinking.
From drinking.
Really?
And I couldn't walk. I couldn't do anything.
Yeah.
And it was a hot mess.
Yeah.
And I just remember there's a rehab called Studio 12. It's for musicians. It's all for musicians.
Oh, really? Wow.
And there's a thing called Music Care.
Does that have anything to do with like Social D, like Mike Ness or anything? Or no different rehab?
No, so there's a thing called Music Care that helps musicians that don't have any money go to rehab.
Wow.
So they kind of, because I had nothing.
Right.
Zero.
Right.
Clothes on my back.
Sure.
That's it. And can't walk. And look like something out of a fucking horror movie.
Wow.
So I went to that rehab for the musicians. There was I'm not going to say names, but there were some well-known people in there, musicians. And I just remember going to see a doctor because no one knew what the fuck was wrong with me. Like, what is wrong with this guy?
Yeah.
And the doctor said, oh, you damaged your nerves from drinking, and we don't know if you'll ever walk again.
Wow.
We don't know how fast the nerves will repair themselves.
Wow.
But he says, you got to stop drinking. And I looked at him, I said, I can't. And he said, you better find a way.
Right.
And I did.
Yeah.
So.
And was that the first, I'm sorry, if you don't mind, like what year about is this that you decided to figure out how to get sober?
Late 90s?
No. So I've been sober in 3 months off 15 years.
15 years, okay.
So 2009.
2009, wow. Yeah. And because, you know, there's always, there's like stories of legend of you crawling across the street to get booze and crawling back and shit. You know what I mean? And a lot of people basically, and that's a weird thing about this fucking world is that some people will watch their friend do that to themselves and not say a fucking word.
No,
but we all know that you can't fix anybody, right? You have to fix yourself, right?
I watched the progression of all this. I watched it happen. You know, I mean, I was there through the whole thing, and I watched it happen. You can't say anything to anybody about that.
Right, you can't. Yeah,
you know
that's what I'm saying. You can't
I could
fix
walk
anybody,
up and I remember specifically walking up to him and talking to him, and you're not there. It's not like I talk to you whatever before, and I'd like, hey, what's up, brother? How you doing, man? And we would chat. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
it was all good. And then at a certain point in time, I remember walking up and trying to talk to you, and not, you know, just like, hey, man, how you doing? What's going on, man? I'm glad you guys are here. What's happening? How you doing? And you were just not
Yeah.
there. You were checked out.
Yeah.
And I remember that, and I remember, like, in my own head, because I grew up around all of this, and just going, man, fuck. I hope that he can fix this.
Right.
Yeah.
But I can't say nothing to you. Who am I to say something to you? You don't
100%.
fucking know.
And a lot of
me
people
that.
feel like that.
You
yeah.
gotta go
And
through
I
it.
have
You
family
gotta go
members
through
that are doing the same
Yeah.
shit right now, and
You go through
I
what you
can't
gotta
say
go
anything
through,
to them.
you know. And for me, luckily, I made it. Because
Yeah,
there
that's
was
incredible.
And found a way to do it.
Exactly.
Get around the right people.
Yeah. Yeah.
Find the right people that help
Yeah.
you get there,
Right.
and do the right thing, man.
Yeah, I'm just glad that, you know, for me, that because I knew I needed to stay sober.
Right.
I wasn't trying to get sober. I was trying to stay
Stay
sober.
sober. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's where I'm at today.
Yeah.
So, you know, hey, and then life happens, you know. Good days, not so good days, whatever. But
Right.
they're sure better than those other fucking
Dude, I remember, again, along the same lines of just, I don't remember where we were at, man. But I walked up and you were on that path of righteousness, like getting your, like, and I remember walking up and just being like, hey, man, fucking awesome, bro. It's good to see you. Like, it's good to see you.
Right.
You know, and
Yeah.
you were, you know, I remember it. I remember walking up and telling you, like, man, because I just saw you and I was like, God, thank goodness, man.
Yeah.
You were healthy. You were smiling. You know, you were just, it was you again.
Yeah.
You know?
What's funny too with all this is I basically I couldn't write. I couldn't feed
Sure.
myself. I couldn't do things. So I basically was like, my music career
It's done.
is done, and I'm okay with it because my kids are kind of like me again.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did not.
I'll take
you
that.
know, I'm
Yeah.
good. I'm good. I can look back and say
100%,
everything I did,
yeah.
and then to get the phone call, somebody wanted to ask us to go on this tour, Carminetti and Fest, I think it's called, with Negative Approach and all that, and Ron was going to go ahead and do it.
Wow.
So they were going to fly him from Australia here, and I was like, oh shit, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this.
Right.
So we set up a practice, but I was going to play bass because John
really?
Morris could play guitar.
Yeah.
And because I thought it'd be easier.
Right.
And I went and I couldn't do it. But we had months to get ready for this.
Sure.
But I was like, you guys, I can't do it. You know, my coordination, everything's
Right.
gone.
Right.
And then I was like, you know what? Hold on. We can do this. So I set up the amp in this fucking sober living house I was in.
Wow.
And I played 4 hours a day, every day,
Yeah.
just to get the basics back.
Wow.
You know, when I got there, I had to use a shopping cart for a walker.
Okay.
But as time was going by, my nerves were getting better. They
Getting
were
better and
restoring, so I
better.
could start
Yeah.
walking again. Started playing the guitar again. Can't play anything like I used to,
Right.
but I could play enough to get by what we're doing right
Sure,
now.
yeah.
But it was just a blessing. But we had the first show, I think, I remember one of the shows was at the Observatory, sold out,
Yeah.
Negative Approach, you
Dude,
know, we're
yeah.
supporting act.
Yeah.
And I walked out on that stage, and I'm like, what the fuck? Because I had never played sober.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude,
I've
that's a whole
never
nother
played
animal.
sober.
Yeah.
And I was like, holy shit.
Yeah.
I was like kind of scared.
Yeah.
And then John Morris was next to me, and he goes, bet you never thought you'd be up here sober, huh? And I was like, fuck,
You're
no,
fucking A right,
this
dude.
is crazy. And so that was it. And I was like, you know what? We can do this.
Yeah.
You know, because sometimes hard to be around it, the temptation or whatever.
Sure.
So I was like, am I going to be able to do this without drinking? Because it was so bad where I couldn't stop. And now as time goes by, drinking's not the problem anymore. It's just living a good life.
Right,
And
right.
being, because I'll never drink again.
Yeah.
The consequences are way too
Way
severe.
too much. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to say never, but I'm pretty good. I have a good chance I
Yeah.
probably will die sober.
Yeah.
Because nothing's worth going
Nothing's worth
back
that.
because I love what I have today.
And it's incredible that you guys were able to resurrect this band, and with John C, who's he's my best fucking friend on planet Earth, and I
him.
love that
Yeah.
fucking man to death, and he doesn't do anything half-assed.
Without
you know what I mean?
him,
Yeah.
this thing would never even be where we're at today.
Right.
Because I remember We did something at Rock City, and we like had no singer. We had Ryan Fredette for a couple shows, and then we said, let's do this. We're just gonna grab everybody to do a few songs.
Sure.
John Fannin, Fury Pugh, Tony Repute, Brady from whatever bands how many bands he's been in. But we just had all these different, my brother was going to sing a couple. We were going to let the crowd of someone come up and do a couple, you know, whatever. And I didn't really know John C. that great.
Right.
And he was the last one to come up and do the songs. And he had no practice with us. We had a practice.
Oh, he didn't need it. Yeah.
We had a practice at Larry's with everybody come in
Yeah.
and do their couple songs. But he came out and something, it was like magic.
Yeah.
It's like, dude.
He's a true frontman.
And I remember going up to him, I go, hey, dude, would you want to join the band? We kind of need you.
Yeah, totally.
And he said, fuck yeah, let's do this, you know?
Because you're completing his childhood dreams.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, no, there's like him and Revis.
Right.
No one loves Nardcore more than those two fucking guys.
And
dude.
what an amazing guy to have. Just not only his talent, but the person he is.
Oh, yeah.
Is
driven,
it just
focused.
It clicked, you know, with us. And like, I think 10 years maybe played with this.
Totally, dude. And you guys put out new music.
Yeah.
Which didn't suck at all.
Yeah.
Got better, dude.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
good.
that like
was
for,
the whole COVID thing, you
Yeah.
know? Like, everybody was shut down, and I was like, you know, here we go. My brain's going, what can we do?
What can we do?
So I called up the other dude, said, dude, let's sneak into the studio and just start writing. And we wrote everything. We played the drums, the bass, we put it all together, and then we were able to take it to everybody. And then we were able to put it together.
Yeah, and it's a fucking great,
awesome,
great
man.
records, man. You know what I mean? Like, great.
And that's when I really started, like, okay, we're going to do this shit.
Yeah.
And so I just started doing what we do, start searching. I made emailing, sending private messages, DMs to, you know, booking agents. And finally, all of a sudden, things started clicking. I'm like, you guys want to go to Europe?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's go to Europe, you know?
Yeah.
And so it's...
Yeah, it's amazing.
Everything.
Yeah, John C. is such a strong motherfucker to have on your side, dude. It's...
And, you know, with that lineup, the first trip to Europe, you know, we had Larry and we had John, you know, and these are guys that I grew up with. They're like, you know, when I was 14, you know what I mean? I've known these guys. They're kind of like my dads in a way.
Right.
They watched out for me and all this stuff. So for us to all be there and John just fit in like the glove.
And get to experience what, like... you know, like what it is, and to see Nardcore, like, and we were talking to you know, you have young kids in your band now, which are fucking awesome. I love AK and Danny, me and Jay love those fucking kids.
See, I will tell you,
I've never had anyone request anything to be cut out of a podcast except for those two little fuckers, dude.
Yeah.
Because they made some jokes, which were hilarious, but they were concerned about their moms. You know what I mean? And I love them to death, and I cut them out, and I'm not going to say what they were, even though every part of me wants to.
Yeah, 100%.
And they were fucking hilarious.
So,
but
I got a question.
You know,
it's really like, were you guys able to capitalize on Larry's senior citizen stuff? Were you able
how much
to,
AR?
You know what I mean?
You know how much money that fucker got to save, like at Denny's, because he was on that senior citizen menu. And I shit you not, because I went there and I seen his bill, and I said, "How the fuck did you get this so cheap?" He's all, because I'm on the senior citizen thing.
That's
I
right.
said, "Oh my god, now I am."
Yeah,
on the fucking
you're there,
senior
dude.
citizen bill.
That's what's up.
It's
Finally,
fucking
dude.
classic. So yeah,
Free
he totally
denture
turned me
cleaning.
on to that shit.
Oh,
Now
dude, it's
I'm
amazing.
We go at least twice a week, man.
Yeah. Get the early bird breakfast, dude.
Fuck, dude, it's classic.
Yeah, but so how is it? So you had the lineup with John C., and then now, you know, John C. stepped away, and now you got a bunch of young bucks in the band.
Yeah.
Right, and Ron's back, which is fucking awesome, you know, because Ron is such a fucking good. And I'm so, like, I still want to do a podcast with Ron, even though it will come out after Nardfest.
Yeah.
I'm going to work hard to get him on, because he's such a
Yeah,
fascinating
he's gonna be here
motherfucker
next
to me.
week.
I know.
I was just talking to him on the way here.
I'm gonna hit him up. I want him to fucking do it next Monday,
Yeah.
dude. I'm gonna hit him up, but or whenever he comes into town. But you know, how has it been with the new young bucks?
Wow,
you know?
it's been amazing. You know,
Kenny, would you mind opening a door, dude? I am dying. Is there like a door or something you can open?
motherfuckers start sweating.
Yeah,
over
I'm
that.
fucking fat, dude. Yeah, it's brutal. That'd be awesome. Thank you, man.
So, kind of what happened with that, how that went about, which was sad too, because we're about ready to go to this Europe, go on this Europe.
Right.
Second one.
Right.
And we're having a little band meeting at John's house. And this is when that strike was happening for the the film industry.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
And all that. And so we were going to have Ron on FaceTime for this meeting. You know, we're getting fired up to go.
Right.
And Larry's like, hey, I got some bad news. He's like, I'm not going to be able to go. He's like, my work's going on strike.
Yeah.
And financially and just probably he had a lot to go through, you know.
Yeah, there's a lot of
on
shit
his side
yeah.
with family and everything, you know what I mean? This thing's pretty major, you know, going on strike for who knows how long they're
right.
talking, who knows how long. So I was like, what?
Fuck.
Tickets are bought, the thing's
right.
booked. I go, what the fuck are we gonna do? Then John goes, I can't get off work.
Right.
And I was like,
oh
fuck. And Ron's FaceTiming and I didn't even answer. I was devastated going, what are we gonna do?
Right.
But Larry suggested, why don't you hit up Jody?
Right.
You know, Jody Kern. And I said, okay. And we had AK. And he goes, I got somebody.
Right.
But I'm like, do they got passports? And can they drop everything?
Yeah, and go? Yeah.
Well, Danny's, I don't give a fuck. I'll quit.
Yeah, right.
Jody owns,
to be young. Yeah.
Jody owns his own business. So that's how we got that unit together.
That's awesome, man.
And just wow.
Yeah.
That's all I can say is wow.
AK fucking rips. Dude.
Yeah.
You know? And
gave,
Danny's no slouch either. You know?
A spark that was needed, and then Ron came back,
right.
and it just was like, wow,
the enthusiasm.
It's even better than ever.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a good. And then okay, so now you gotta remember, I've been with these other guys forever. How is this gonna work? Traveling with these kids,
right?
You know, is it gonna work? It was fucking comedy hour. It was the best fucking thing ever,
dude.
Those two are awesome.
They're so fucking funny,
but
man.
for me to, you know, when we were looking for a guitar player, AK had messaged me, and I didn't write him back. I didn't know AK.
Yeah, you don't know who the fuck he is.
Kid is.
Some
and now
20-year-old kid.
We're supposed to be going to Hawaii in like 6 days.
Yeah.
He wrote back and said, I can play all the leads. And I called him back and I said, okay, hey, what's happening? I go, where do you live? He goes, I live by Lowe's. I said, dude, that's where I'm headed.
Yeah.
I said, I'll come over. So he's got all his shit set up in his room.
Hell
you
yeah,
know?
dude.
And I said, hey, play In Control, whatever. Started naming these songs.
No way, really? Oh, you gave him like a legit audition, dude.
He
This poor
played
kid.
note for note, the leads, everything. Probably better than
Sure.
He added.
No, he rips, dude.
He added a
rips,
little bit. And I said,
added some
oh
flair.
my God.
Yeah.
I said, dude, can you go to Hawaii next week?
What a fucking call.
Yeah, and
what
so
a fucking
his
call, man.
His mom's so bitch and she's wonderful, right? So she comes out, we come out of the room and I said, hey, I'm going to take your son around the world.
Yeah.
And she looked at me and I said, I'll take care of him. And she looked at me, she goes, mijo, all that hard work is paying off.
Yeah, that's amazing, man.
And I'm like, let's do this shit.
Dude,
you know?
that's awesome.
And in 5 days, we fucking got on the plane. We go to take off, and he's like, what's up? He's like, I've never been on a plane.
Oh, dude. That's so amazing.
So that's kind of how he came in. Just the whole story, how
that's
this
so
whole
awesome,
unit came. But to watch those two, when we're in Europe, Paris, Croatia, wherever we are at, just the joy they had.
Dude, I mean,
and ripping
youth
you know,
is incredible.
and,
It's inspiring.
And
you know
I
what
just said, hey, not to be whatever you want to call it, but I said, not too many people get this chance.
Not at all.
And
Yeah.
you guys are so young, you didn't pay shit of dues.
Not at all.
You joined the right fucking band.
Right.
And it clicks.
They also put in the work on their own.
They did.
You
Oh,
know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we wouldn't just, you know, the youngsters are not.
Yeah.
You
put in the work.
Go to his house.
Yeah.
And have him go, what do you want me to play? Play In Control.
But
okay,
it's like a walking
you know.
jukebox.
Yeah.
You tell him play
Yeah.
rock and roll to fucking Pink Floyd. To,
Right. Everything.
The dude just, I mean, he's
he
so
rips.
good as a kid. But it was just, you know what it was? That for me to be in that band, go, look at these kids had the opportunity.
It's incredible.
Because I had that opportunity.
Right. You were that same kid.
I was that same one, man.
You were that same fucking kid.
But they didn't have to pay those dues. They just jumped right into let's roll.
Yeah.
And it was just classic, you know, like we have a lot upcoming. you know, and they kind of have jobs, you
Yeah.
know. And I said, hey, what are you guys going to do? Well, we got this tour. We're going to Europe. Then we got Hawaii. Then we're going to Japan. And I said, you guys got to get up, Rick. They go, we'll quit.
Yeah, it's 100%. Fuck yeah, dude.
I said, you probably should because you might not get this opportunity again.
You'll
maybe,
never get it
maybe
again.
not. I don't know.
That was the one thing with me is like we didn't get to Europe. I never got to Europe, and that it fucking still to this day it irks me. You know, on all the opportunities we had, I was not willing to lose my ass on things.
Right. Well,
you know what I mean. And now I wish I would have.
Right.
Honestly, you know what I mean, just for the experience. But it is what it is.
Yeah.
You know? But to have young kids be fucking stoked.
Yeah.
Not only that, be able to show up and do the fucking work.
Yeah.
And do the job
Yeah.
and do it well.
Yeah.
Is like so inspiring, and that's what I love about punk rock is like, you know, I've always said like a lot of times you should never meet your heroes, right? I met one the other day that bummed me out. I went to a show, and a dude that I've loved, this dude, I've been following this guy's music career for a million years, and I've met him multiple times before. I actually worked with him a few times, and this guy acted like I was fucking not existent, you know, and I'm a 42-year-old man. I'm not going to say it.
Why not?
It doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. I will always chalk that up to being an awkward moment and a weird night and a fucking thing. And he wasn't a dick at all. He was just, you know. But like in punk rock and in metal, you can meet your heroes 90% of the time, and you're gonna be like, fucking awesome, dude. You know what I mean? And like this is awesome, and that's what I love about that. And like for you to be able to take a chance on these young kids and bring them out and show them the fucking what's possible in the world. You know, like you never know what their music career could be incredible after this. You know what I mean? It's like because you gave them the chance to do it. They also put in the work. They knew the songs. They knew what was up. They're no fucking slouches. They're not irresponsible little shits. You know what I mean?
No,
like
they're funny and shit.
They're so funny, man.
You know, touring, you're locked in the van.
Oh
for a
yeah,
long time,
you find out everything about
they're
somebody.
Classic, dude.
Yeah.
And we're old as fuck. You know, I'm old fuck. And my girlfriend goes on, you know, the trips with us, you know, and we just crack up. We listen to them in the back and they giggle and they're fucking funny talking about bitches and this and that. And it's just fucking classic.
It's so good.
Like they're our kids.
Yeah.
Okay, kids.
Yeah.
We got to be back at the bus at this time. But no, it just worked out great, you know, and I'm excited for them to go to Japan because we were able to go once. Yeah. And it's totally night and day.
Yeah. 100%.
That's way different. So they've already got to experience Europe.
Because I talked to Larry after the whole Europe tour and stuff, and it's such a, like, the stories that they would tell me about, you know, like going into Croatia, going to do all these different things, and going into these basements, and the people, and the whole, like, just talking about the whole scenario about all of it's just like really, really crazy.
Yeah.
And but then you're like, and because I know Japanese culture very well, and then you're like, now you're going to Japan, and in my head I'm like, I want to know what that because it's such a different level of stuff.
Different.
Much more refined. Much more like they're going to be the biggest nerds in the world about the music, but they're not drinking ouzo in the corner of a fucking basement and off on some.
They're just so nice and just
polite and fun.
What's funny is this is what cracks me up, and it still gets to me wherever we're at Europe, Japan, whatever. We go there, especially Japan. Not a lot of them speak English.
Right.
Europe, everyone's speaking English, pretty much.
Yeah.
But you go there and you talking to them, they don't speak English, whatever. We start playing and they're singing word for word.
Totally.
The fucking
It's
songs.
incredible, man.
And a lot of these, even like in Europe, some of these kids weren't even fucking born when that album came out.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I just go, what the?
How insane is it?
Hold on. Yeah. I don't think Danny and AK were born when you guys.
They weren't. No, they were like 6 pre.
Yeah. Totally.
Yeah.
In the fucking early 2000s, maybe.
Yeah. These people with the language barrier, but singing the shit, going, okay, you know what the fuck?
How
fucking
shocking
kids from Oxnard. Here we are, you know,
wherever the fuck you
Oxnard. we're over here going, how did we get here?
Right.
You know what I mean? After 40 years, you know,
Right.
Control's been 40 years.
And everybody's going, what the fuck is an Oxnard?
Yeah.
That, you know,
Yeah, no,
that's one
you'd
of my
be surprised.
favorite things. What's an
Nardcore
Oxnard?
is well known everywhere.
That's
Yeah.
what I'm shocked about.
Everywhere
You know?
we
It's
go.
like you go all over the world and there's a scene for guys
Tattooed
that love
back,
it.
motherfucking RKL, Ill Repute. We
Right.
see it all over
It's
when we
crazy.
play.
Yeah.
It is so cool,
Yeah.
you know, to see that. You know, I get this question asked, like, why do you still do this?
Right.
You know, you've been doing it a long time. And this is true, is because I'm a fan of the fans.
Right.
I do that for these
Yeah.
kids that get to, you know, get to see it, you know. It's sad right now for me too. Like Ill Repute's not playing,
Right.
And there's generation that's not seeing them play.
Not
right
seeing them
now.
do it, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And other bands that you really, you know, like you want to see, you know, we get to still do it. You know,
Right.
It's
Yeah,
fun.
you guys are getting to receive the fruits of the labor.
Yeah.
40 years later, dude. 30 years
Yeah,
later.
and
you know,
for
it's
me
fucking crazy,
to take
man.
on the role that I did, you
Right.
know, because there was a point. We did one tour with Dr. No, and I was still drinking. And I think our first show was at the Troubadour.
Okay.
And I fell off the stage.
Oh,
And I
really?
blew my knee out
Oh,
the very first show. So we still went on the tour,
yeah.
but I was a hot mess.
Really?
And I was like, wake up in the morning and say, hey, when do I get paid, fuckers? And they're like, we paid you last night. And I would throw this fucking, you know,
Yeah.
just chaos. It was chaos. But then fast forward now,
Right.
I can be that guy that
Right.
control the money, control the whole book.
Right. And not only that, control your life.
Exactly.
You get to control
Yeah.
your life, which is
Yeah.
like a gift that
Yeah.
no one, where you were at, no one comes back from.
Yeah.
You know, you beat all the odds, dude.
Oh, definitely.
You know, if you were a fucking racehorse, it would
Yeah.
be,
Yeah.
you'd
And
be
then,
1,000 to
there's
1.
still
you know what I
life
mean?
besides the band, you know.
Well, that too.
I work real estate. I'm in property management. I got
Right.
89 houses we
Right.
deal with, so I
Right.
wouldn't have done it,
Yeah.
you know.
But how often do you find in what you do now, and I bring this up constantly because this is the reason that I wanted to do this podcast, was that people that have that DIY culture built into their fucking blood are successful at anything they do, right? And what you do is you manage properties and you do all these things. And there's a through line that I found with a million musicians that doesn't matter what the fuck it is they did, but if you understand people and you know how to show up to a show in the middle of fucking Iowa where no one wants you there, and all of a sudden you fucking flip the venue and you flip the security guards, and now they all like you for some reason. That shit, that DIY ethic, those DIY fucking values transfer to everything in the world, right?
Yeah.
Like, and it's like, it's a weird thing, but that's the reason I like to talk to people like you guys, is because that shit, it translates to anything. If you could figure out, it's almost a superpower if you can figure out. And it's really just managing people. Being in a weird situation and a weird fucking around a bunch of people you're not familiar with, and being able to find a common ground and make it work. Right? You know what I mean? Like, and that's what I love about this. Like that's what drew me to punk rock. That's what drew me to metal, you know, is that you can do anything yourself and you can fucking make it work. You know, if you can figure out I can walk into any situation in any part of the country in J2, you know, and fucking find a friend and like have a great fucking time, you know. But because when people grow up with these hard values and these hard lines that they fucking think are good or bad or whatever, when you get out in the world and you experience everything, you realize that everyone's the same. They just want to have a good fucking time, and we all have to figure out how to make it work together. You know what I mean? Like,
oh, absolutely.
Yeah, so it's like, it's cool that you've been able to do that with your career now, you know, after rebuilding your life, essentially.
Exactly.
You know? It's like, it's amazing, you know?
Yeah, so we're pretty excited, you know.
Yeah.
Don't know how much more we have left in the tank, but...
Well, dude, go for it, you know what I mean?
Run
like,
it dry.
Yeah.
Run it dry, man. It's beautiful.
Because I do
your
know
health can do it, man.
2025, we're shut down.
Okay.
What we're going to do as of touring,
Sure.
what we're going to do is that Holding On EP that just came out.
Sure.
That's volume 1.
Right.
We're going to record volume 2.
Okay. Awesome.
And then Ron will come out probably lay down the vocals, and then maybe do one show, and then that's it for 2025.
Okay, smart. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So as far as it goes, you got a lot of touring coming up. You're starting to tour next week, essentially,
Yeah, the
right?
11th.
Building up
Thursday.
to the Nardfest,
Yeah.
and then after that as well. Right?
Yeah, going all down south, San Diego,
Yeah.
Long Beach,
Right.
and a couple in the desert area, Lancaster,
Yeah.
and that. And then we head up north, Santa Cruz, the Bay Area.
Okay.
And then I think we're home for like 2 days, and then we head off to London.
London.
We're going to
Okay.
we fly
Doing
to
a London tour, and then
We got 5 shows in the UK.
Wow.
And then we go across the pond to Germany, France, Belgium.
wow.
Be over there for a little bit. Come home, do the Big Island, Maui, and Oahu,
Wow.
and then to Japan.
Wow. That's
Yeah,
awesome,
7
man.
days in
So are you
Japan.
going to Hawaii and then going straight from
No,
Hawaii?
we're gonna come home for a few days,
And then shoot
We're
over
for
to
about a
Hawaii.
week.
Yeah.
or no, it's actually 2 weeks, I think.
Okay.
Yeah,
Which is cool. That's great. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
as you get older, like,
Yeah.
I love bands that tour like 2 weeks at a time.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well,
Like,
yeah.
that sounds awesome.
It's
You know,
a lot.
Like, do 2 weeks, come home for a week, maybe do another couple
The-
weeks. Like, that's a fucking way
Europe
to do
is
it.
not so bad, but the jet lag from
The
Japan
jet lag,
is super
yeah.
bad.
Yeah.
When you come back, so I'm glad we're ending with that.
Right,
And
right.
not have to come back and try to go somewhere
Yeah.
else.
That's why I was like, if you go to Hawaii to Japan's not that big of a deal. It's a lot easier than going from here to Japan.
Well, it makes more sense to
Yeah.
to go,
Right.
but
But you're
the
also
t-
coming back and then
right,
going.
The timing
Yeah.
for
just
us
doesn't work.
It didn't work,
Yeah.
but it did work with Japan because there's this huge festival,
Okay.
and it's just once a year, and we happen to be there.
Nice.
We had some other shows, but we weren't on that festival.
Okay.
But we got on it.
Nice.
They made it happen.
Oh my god,
so
dude.
Yeah.
that one's in Tokyo. It's like 300 bands. It's 4-day. event.
Holy shit.
It's
That's
huge.
awesome.
So
Rad.
we're looking.
Where is
forward
this
to
in
that.
Japan?
In Tokyo.
Okay. Awesome. Yeah, Japan's one of my bucket list places.
Yeah.
You know.
You guys need a roadie for
Yeah,
that?
let's roll.
Yeah.
Actually, roadie
Kenny's
my
going.
ass. I'll do security.
There you go.
I've been doing it for long enough.
I can
I'll handle
be
you.
merch bitch. I don't know. What do you want to So as far as it goes, Nardfest is coming up on the 12th.
Yeah.
Right. This will be out in a couple days. But what was your process for setting that up as far as it goes? Like you
Well-
just pick the band because it's really like obviously the Dickies are playing Final Conflict, legendary fucking bands, not Nardcore bands, but legendary bands, right? You guys are kind of the only old school Nardcore band, right?
So, the history of just how this worked out for
Right.
me. You know, Jeff Hershey started it.
Right.
You know, he had the Nard stock and kind of had to change the name because
Yeah, because he got
legal
sued by
issues,
he got sued by
fucking
Woodstock, or he
Woodstock.
got a cease and desist by Woodstock, I guess.
Fucking
Yeah.
idiots.
Ridiculous.
So, but he was the man, you know,
Yeah.
to
Free-loving
do it
hippies.
all, and he's the one that is the hero.
Spearheaded
here.
it, yeah.
And I think we were at the Camarillo bowling alley. The Nardcore bowling was going on or
Mm-hmm.
something, and Tony approached me, a repute, and said, "Hey, I was going to do this Nardfest thing with Loanne at the theater, and why don't you take over or whatever?"
Right.
And he's like, "Get some bands," and I said, "Okay." And then it turned out the Ventura Theater wasn't available
Okay.
those dates, and I kind of got hooked up with the Ocean Pavilion,
Right.
so we moved it over there.
Right.
And
Which is a cool venue.
Yeah,
man.
it was really
Yeah.
cool, and that one was good. And you know, it was a lot of more Nardcore bands.
Mm-hmm.
And if you go back and look at the other ones, it was kind of almost all the same bands.
Sure. Yeah.
And just seeing like, but you know how fucking the internet is. You get haters and you get fucking.
Of course.
Oh, same shit every fucking year.
Right,
blah
right.
blah blah. Whatever. So second time at the Pavilion, 2-day event. First night was bad, really good. A lot of more hardcore bands, then kept it more old school
Right.
hardcore bands. Second night was so this time Ocean Pavilion was done. I'm basically not doing any more shows.
Oh, really? Okay.
So we were kind of scrambling, and that's how me and Marco kind of teamed
Yeah.
up and let's go over to the pack and
Yeah.
just keep it this. So with that being said, should we try something a little bit more
Totally,
different?
dude. Yeah.
Reached out. Dickies were available, Final Conflict.
Right.
You know, those two kind of, okay, it's got the ball rolling. Marco kind of threw a little bit, some of these
Yeah.
younger,
The younger
Pete
bands that are
Mist
coming around.
and those guys, and
Yeah.
just trying to give some bands that haven't an opportunity to play it to get them on this bill.
Right.
and which they all kick ass, you know. So that's kind of how we got this lineup, and obviously the rap, you guys come back,
Yeah.
so that was a good.
Yeah, we're really excited, dude.
You know, to get the reunion one back, because it seemed like there was Joe Rivas got one last year with, you know, Burning Dog had done one, and so and so. So, yeah, I think it's gonna be really.
I think it's gonna be awesome, dude.
And this year's the first time with the 2 stages.
Right.
You know, so we're gonna be in to out, in to out. I think that gives people some breathing room. And, you know, it's gonna
super
be
excited.
good.
Man.
Yeah, I'm very excited.
Way looking forward to
Jay's
it.
coming. He's going to be our merch, girl for the night.
I have some pretty severe anxiety issues about going to shows and stuff anymore.
Right.
And I'm excited about this.
Yeah, it'll be awesome, dude.
Yeah.
I'm very excited, man. And thank you for you know reaching out to us, because I like the Wrath for me is the band that I walked away from that I absolutely fucking loved.
Right.
But I was a dad of 2 kids, and I was tired of coming home with $0, and had made a choice. I made a fucking choice to be a dad. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And that band for me, we could have kept, and we could have been the same thing we were always doing. We could have fizzled out like every other fucking band on earth. We also could have been fucking massive.
Right.
You know what I mean? The way that me and John work, I'm a driven motherfucker, and so is he, and we were a perfect team, you know?
Well, we're stoked.
You know, and I'm very excited that we got out of it, and to bring Brent back into the fold, who's been, you know, he's a, you know, odd dude, and I love him to death, but, you know, we didn't have a sour breakup or anything like that. It just, I made a fucking choice, dude, and that's what it was, and the Night Demon thing was starting to break for Brent.
Right.
And we're very fucking excited to play, dude.
Totally.
I can't wait to fucking get in there and tear that fucking place up.
Yeah,
you know
it's
what I
going to
mean?
be good.
So where can people buy tickets?
You know, Salzer's is going to have the tickets.
Right.
Well, they do right now.
Right.
4th of July we're going to do another little push.
Okay.
As of just all the bands kind of pushing again.
Right.
Tickets $20 at Salzer's.
Right.
I think there's even a link for the pack itself.
Sure. Yeah.
On their website.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, we'll throw all the links
And
up
then
on.
Marco even sent me a fucking thing that's on StubHub.
Oh, is it really? Oh, damn, dude. $300 tickets probably.
Yeah.
That's rude.
Yeah. So yeah, that's it's gonna be good.
Yeah, man. It'll be awesome, man. I'm so fucking excited. July 12th is going to be incredible.
Yeah.
I'm very,
you need to
very
do
excited.
when you do the StubHub, you need to put the band lineup, and then part of the band lineup needs to be like opac.org or Salzer's.
Yeah.
Dude, the next band is Get Ticket at Salzer's.
Dude, yeah. The StubHub shit is nuts.
Yeah.
People are scalping the fuck out of
Yeah,
tickets right
and
now.
Marco sent me over the.
Yeah,
the thing.
it's on there, dude.
I
Yeah,
was
someone's gonna
laughing.
get some fucking. Someone's gonna be mad. Yeah, for sure. You know?
That is
always,
classic.
guys, always buy tickets from the website link. Okay, you know, don't go third party. But
Yeah.
Dude, it has been an absolute fucking pleasure chatting.
thank
with you,
you.
man. I've never got to
Appreciate
sit
it.
down
Yeah,
with you
man.
this long. I've come to your bunch of shows and hung out with you with John C. And it's incredible to hear your life story, dude. I mean, for anyone that wants to get fucking sober, if you think you're bad, buddy, motherfucker, this guy came back from the dead. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
and
no,
I'm so fucking excited to hear that. You know?
Yeah.
And
Well, I appreciate you guys having me on, man.
So,
we'll see.
Hey, bro, I'm excited that you're here.
yeah,
well,
just
thank
here
you.
in general.
It's,
You know what I mean?
yeah, like,
Yeah.
you know, you're one of my people that I've watched in life that, like, you're like, that's it. You know,
Yeah.
and I've seen a lot, you know, and to see you where you were at a point where I was like, man, this sucks, you know, and then to watch, you know, watch you come through all of it and work your program
And
do
flourish.
your stuff and then come out and then just excel in life, you know,
That's
because
it, man.
part of the thing with the program is it's not a life, it's a bridge, you know, and to watch you walk that bridge and now take that bridge and go like, no, man, I'm going to go to Europe and I'm going to go tour all this crazy shit. I have the fundamentals. I know that I'm going to do this. I'm not going back. I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing. It's you know, it's so inspirational, man.
Well, I appreciate it, man.
I can't tell you how fucking much I'm just proud of you, bro. Just to see you
seriously.
get here.
Well,
is-
thank
proud
you.
of you, man.
Appreciate it, man.
yeah.
Yeah.
Let's
All right.
Have a good time.
Well, having said that, guys, please, if you want to support this podcast, like and subscribe, leave a review, rate us, comment, whatever the fuck. Tell us we're dickheads. Check out the Patreon, patreon.com. These episodes go up a day early, unedited. And, you know, check out our merch, getheavypodshop.com. on our merchandise, and we will see you next week.
I'll be dancing on stage.
That's right.
I got a new pole I set up, 1091 Scandia Avenue.
Yeah.
If you guys want to see me get naked and funky,
No one wants to see that.
it's coming.
Yeah.
Just like Craig is watching the show.
Love you. Bye.